Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of Daily Stock, we are going to consider the Tesla's quarterly earnings as well as the macroeconomic environment in which it is operating, which is having an impact on its valuations. If we consider the trajectory of its share price, which is kind of guiding tool in relation to the workings of the company to figure out how things are shaping up for the company. If we consider that the last couple of years have been kind of flat to negative for the valuation of the company after reaching its peak in 2021, the stock price has kind of halved, and in the last 1 year there is uptick, but it is still significantly lower than the peak, and it is not really likely that it will be back to its peak anytime soon. I think for upcoming quarters, maybe a year or two, it is likely to trade sideways as there are significant developments which are impacting its business prospects. The company has been able to increase its market share. It has improved the product deliveries, the vehicle deliveries. It is also on track to launch its new promising vehicle, the Tesla Cybertruck. But even after so many positive developments, I feel the share price is not really likely to climb fast anytime soon. Rather than that, the headwinds are kind of strong, and we are likely to consider its valuation remaining stagnant, and even some correction can also be expected on the current levels. To gauge the fundamental side, we will first consider the quarterly earnings, and afterwards we will consider the share price as well. This is the third quarter 2023 results which were announced last month. The revenue has risen for most quarters now. This is a remarkable achievement for the company, which was struggling to make profit just a couple of years back. Now it is profitable in most of the quarters. Almost all the quarters under consideration have seen its operations remain profitable, and though it is a profitable venture now, we still have to look at the year on year as well as quarter on quarter performance, where there has been decline from the prior quarters. If you consider the revenues are up 5% year on year, but in terms of quarter on quarter, the revenues are lower from the automotive segment. The energy generation and storage revenue is considerably higher, so is the revenue from services segment. So these two segments have grown, but there have been headwinds in the automotive segment with increased competitions, regulatory pressure, and also there has been supply constraints which has hampered the company's ability to ramp up production of its vehicle, and that is also affecting the delivery schedule. So all these factors taken together have contributed to the flattening of its revenues for last couple of quarters, and there is not much of a concern regarding its profitability, but the growth from here onwards is likely to be constrained, and its operating margin has also shrunk. There has been increase in the operating cost, and the margin is declining for the last quarter. The things were also not that promising. The same thing continues this time around, And if we look at the net income has substantially reduced from more than 3 billion US dollar to little less than 2 billion dollars for this quarter. Now, for the third quarter, the revenues were at US dollar 1.853 billion, which is 44% lower in terms of year on year. The cash flow has been positive, but some of these cash flow has also been utilized to incur the capital expenditure as the company is investing heavily in the promising initiatives which will of course bear fruit in coming years, but at this current juncture the expenditure is having a significant impact with it totaling more than US dollar 2.4 billion. Now this is the summary. There is growth in vehicle deliveries. Growth is also visible in other parts of the business, but average selling price has reduced, and that has impacted the operating margin negatively. There was also negative forex market impact of around US dollar 0.4 billion, which is a huge amount if you consider the profitability is well established, but the operating margin is on the decline. And the company has also listed why there has been reduction in the operating margin, and mainly it has been attributed to the pricing and vehicle mix. Also, the operating expenses have been driven up by the investments being incurred for the Cybertruck, AI, and other R&D projects. The negative FX headwinds also impacted the net income. The cash position of the company remains quite comfortable. It is still in the positive, and being a cash flow positive, it is not going to be in need to borrow much from the market. We also have this breakdown of the deliveries, and if we simply consider the percentages, there has been reduction in the Model S and X production, but the deliveries for the Model 3 has been quite significant, and it has seen growth of 29%, and in Europe it is the best-selling vehicle in almost all the categories. So that is a remarkable achievement for these electric vehicle. Model 3 is its most economic offering, and that is also the Tesla's largest selling vehicle, and there is no similar product being offered by the Tesla which is commercially that much successful. The model has a limited traction amongst the consumers with its total deliveries just little less than 16,000. But in other segments, the Tesla's initiative seems to be bearing fruit. Uh, the company has been trying to turn profit in other offerings as well. So if we consider these segments like solar, Tesla services, and the supercharging initiative, supercharging stations and connectors, these also have been profitable. The Tesla solar business has been facing quite significant adverse development, and that has reduced its profitability. But apart from that, the company is in a comfortable position, but its growth is going to be mild. It is not really expecting the exponential growth in the market share. the thing seems to be stabilizing and the revenues are likely to remain in this ballpark of around US dollar 25 billion for next couple of quarters as well. It will be interesting to see how things shape up for the ongoing quarter, that is the fourth quarter of this financial year. And as the share price trajectory suggests, some improvement can be expected, but we will still have to take a cautious stance and go and keep looking for the opportunities to both trade as well as invest. And in that quest, we of course have to consider the trajectory of the share price. For the short term, if your view is for the next couple of days, then looking at this current trajectory of the share price movement since the release of its earnings, we have seen this sharp decline and stabilization around the price levels of US dollar 200. From there onwards, it has climbed up 20 percentage point, and even in today's session, it is trading with the bullish bias, and I am expecting the Tesla's share price to climb at least towards 250 in next couple of days. So it remains bullish from the short term perspective, but the same can't be said if we enlarge the time horizon and look for the medium term to longer term developments. Then I think we will have to take a cautious stance and allow this consolidation to gain more clarity. At the moment, it has been forming these lower highs and lower lows, so that doesn't really look like a promising charting pattern to invest from the longer term perspective. For us, this price zone of around 270 odd is going to be crucial, and if it doesn't really climb past 280 in next couple of days, and in the current upward trajectory, if it struggles and holds below these prior swing highs, then we will be in a good position to short it in coming weeks. At the moment, as I said, from the short term perspective, it is having a bullish momentum, and that we will need to allow to play out before we think about shorting. So, right now, it is not really advisable to short it, but the trajectory from the medium term perspective is quite a lot tilted on the bearish side, so it will be better to keep looking for opportunities to go short in next couple of weeks. For longer term, if we consider the monthly chart, the Tesla's weekly charting suggests bearish pressure as well, since it made peak of around US 400. It has been going downhill. It declined almost 75% of its total market cap achieved when it was at peak. From there on, it was quite brutal rally on the lower side. It was quite a brutal decline, dive lower towards these 100, and from there on it has found some buying on the lower side, but still the prior upward bullish momentum has been missing, and I think now it has become an established player in the market. It has also gained the market share in most of the major markets around the world, but currently it needs to be seen whether it will be able to climb past 300 again. So we will have to be cautious here, go with the flow, allow it to consolidate, and then only think about going long if it is able to break past and sustain about 300 level. So right now, I feel we will have to go with the flow from the short-term perspective. The buying seems to be a safe bet, but not so safe if you are expanding the horizon from the medium term to longer term, then we will have to think for shorting it. And here the price zone of around 300 has been significant resistance, and from there the company struggled even at the current juncture. As I said, the price swing high is going to play a crucial role, and we can indeed think about shorting it with the expectation of its decline towards 150 in coming months. So, see how things shape up for the stock in coming weeks, and if it struggles and consolidates close to this, then I think we can indeed initiate the short sale with the expectation of Tesla eventually declining towards 150 at the minimum or even lower if it is really unable to battle these strong headwinds and emerge successful. So that's my assessment looking at the fundamental as well as technical side of the story. And with these, now I am signing off for the day. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. I will be back tomorrow with a equally interesting stock to work with. Do come back. We will be having fun on Monday. Thank you all for joining.